Okay guys, so we're going to jump right into it. Today I'm going to be using the NYX Shadow Primer in the whitest shade that they have. I'm going to be using a placement brush and I'm going to be using the Maybelline Blush Nudes palette. So starting off, I'm just taking this really light frosty shade and I'm just going to put it right under my eyebrows just so that we can create a little bit of a highlight under the brow. And I'm just making sure to place that on and then draw it down so that I can blend out my shadow. So to improvise, because the palette doesn't come with a soft brown, and you know that I love to use a soft brown, I'm using this shade from the Black Radiance the Black Radiance Contour palette, and I'm using the Sculpt shade. It's a nice soft brown to improvise with if you don't have a lot of shadows or a lot of palettes. You can just use this and make your life easier. And now I'm going back into the Blush Nudes palette and I'm going to take this brown, and this is where I'm going to start to build up some color into my crease and add some depth for my shadow. One of the things I will say about these shades is that they are pretty, but they do require you kind of packing it on. So if you have a lighter hand, you will need to go on just a little bit heavy with these shades. If you just take your time and add the color little by little, you'll see that it starts to intensify over time. But it's not deep colors, so you have to kind of take your time and apply it. Now this is the darkest shade in the palette, and I did want to add some more depth to my crease. So I'm going to go back into this palette and I'm going to just put this right into the middle of my eye, which is my crease, and right on the outer corner. So I'm just starting there and just working the shadow in very softly. As you can see, my eye is already starting to have a 3D look. And like I said, the more that you apply it is the deeper in color that it is going to get. Very important to use a light shadow primer when you're doing these shades so that you can get the most out of the shadow and that it can pop. You should not be wearing eyeshadow without a primer because the shadow will not stay. So I'm happy with how that looks. Now I'm taking my NYX primer and I'm just going onto the lid. I'm not doing a cut crease today. I'm just going onto the lid with it just so that the shade that I put on can be a little bit more vibrant. And I just chose this champagne shade from the Blush Nudes palette. It's like a soft pink, I would say, and it looks really pretty. When we put the glitter on top, it looks really nice. So I was happy with this shade. I will say the frosts in the palette come out a little bit stronger than the mattes, but it's still a good palette overall, and you can pick this up for $9.99. So now I'm just going back into that deep shade in the palette and just softening up those edges so everything looks seamless and it looks smooth, and it looks like the colors are just kind of blending into one another. And I also wanted to add some more depth to my eyes. So now we're going to apply our glitter, and I'm going to use the just some lash glue. So as you can see, I'm taking some lash glue and I'm placing it on a really small brush, and I'm going right on top of where I put my NYX shadow primer. Before that dries down, I'm going to open up a glitter. So you pick any glitter of your choice. I'm using the NYX glitter, and I'm going right on top of where I put that glue. I'm going to go right on top and put my glitter. I use glue because it adheres better, it sticks better. NYX glitter is formatted for the eye, so it'll actually stay, and when you put it on with the glue, it won't move. So you want to make sure you're using some sort of a lash glue and get it onto the lid. Take your time so you don't get it on your eye. This also helps when you do the glue from the glitter just continuing to break apart throughout the day and getting into your eyes. So as you can see for this look, I did my shadow and everything first because you can see how much fallout I just cleaned up with that white. So now I'm going to go ahead and use my eyeliner pencil. This is Smolder from MAC, and I'm going to smudge this out with a smudge brush just to create a little bit more depth on that bottom lash line. and it's really up to you how dark you go. So I applied my lashes. Now I'm going to use the Revlon Color Stay Foundation. This foundation was like definitely a highlight for this year. It's taken me forever to actually finish one bottle, and I've bought this since the spring. So I would definitely say that this is a great foundation to get. You can pick it up from the drugstore as well. The coverage is good, and I love the shade. I think it looks really good. I'm using the Wet n Wild concealer. These concealers are cheap. They're no more than $5. And I'm also going to mix this concealer with my LA Girl Pro concealer. You can pick this up. LA Girl Pro is also sold at Ulta now. You can pick it up from the beauty supply store as well or online. And I'm using the shade Fawn. I am going to mix those two just for more coverage and a more flawless look. And I do kind of like a concealer that's a little bit more yellow under my eyes. So as always, you want to take your concealer. Once you put it on, press it into the skin right where you want it to go, and it'll start to blend in really nicely into your foundation. We are going to set our concealer today using the Black Radiance contour palette. We're going to use the shade color called Sculpt, and we're going to go right on top of our concealer. I really like this palette because it is multi-purpose, just for this drugstore look, so I didn't have to use the Ben Nye one that I normally use in Topaz. And I'm adding a little bit of contour color with that deep brown in the palette. You guys have seen me use this not only for contouring, but you've seen me use that deep brown also for shadow. Now I'm going to use the Makeup Revolution blush palette. I like this palette because it's like supposed to be blush, but it's also like has a sheen mixed into all of the colors. So I find that it just makes the skin look amazing. Like the blush just sits so nice and it just adds a nice highlight to your cheek. You really don't need to put on highlighter after you've applied this blush. I feel like it gives it a very, very nice look. So now I'm using a lighter shade in that same blush palette to do my highlight on my nose and Cupid's bow. And we're going to apply our L'Oreal Infallible lip color in the shade Pink Topaz. This is a very beautiful shade. It is a true pink. I found that the color did stay on pretty well, and it's their 8-hour gloss lip color. So definitely try this out if you guys get a chance. Hope you guys enjoy the New Year festivities. Happy New Year, guys. I love you so much, and I'll see you back here on the channel again very soon. Like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.